In the infinite darkness of space, a routine mission turns into a nightmare. When their ship is thrown off course by a mysterious cosmic phenomenon, the crew of the research vessel Aurora finds themselves stranded light years from Earth. As they struggle to survive in the uncharted reaches of the galaxy, they encounter alien life forms beyond their wildest imaginations, some beautiful, others deadly. But the greatest threat may be closer than they realize. What begins as a fight for survival becomes a desperate quest to preserve humanity itself. Follow their harrowing journey through the void in this gripping sci-fi horror story. Subscribe now to experience the full terrifying voyage. The research vessel Aurora cut through the silent void of space like a silver needle stitching across an endless black canvas. Its sleek hull reflected the distant light of unnamed stars as it drifted through a region of space never before explored by human eyes. The ship carried a team of 6 scientists and engineers, each selected for their expertise in fields crucial to deep space exploration. They had been traveling for 18 months on what was supposed to be a 3-year mission to study cosmic radiation patterns in the outer rim of the galaxy. None of them could have anticipated how drastically their lives would change when their instruments detected an unusual gravitational anomaly ahead. The anomaly appeared as a shimmering distortion in space-time, like heat waves rising from desert sands but frozen in place among the stars. Initial scans suggested it was some form of wormhole, though its properties defied everything understood about theoretical physics. The decision to investigate came quickly, driven by scientific curiosity and the promise of groundbreaking discoveries. As the Aurora approached the phenomenon, its systems began registering increasingly bizarre readings, fluctuations in local gravity, electromagnetic surges that played havoc with their instruments, and strange energy signatures that pulsed in patterns suggesting intelligent design. The crew prepared their equipment for detailed analysis, unaware that they were about to cross a threshold beyond which nothing would ever be the same again. Without warning, the anomaly erupted into a maelstrom of energy that engulfed the Aurora completely. For several agonizing minutes, the ship was tossed like a leaf in a hurricane, its artificial gravity failing as violent forces pulled at its structure from all directions. Emergency lights flickered on throughout the vessel as primary systems failed one after another. When the turbulence finally subsided, the crew found themselves floating weightlessly amidst damaged equipment and floating debris. Their initial relief at having survived gave way to growing concern as they assessed the situation. Navigation systems were completely offline, their quantum positioning system rendered useless by whatever forces they had encountered. Worse still, long-range communications were down, severing their only link to Earth. As the engineering team worked frantically to restore basic systems, the science officers attempted to determine their new location. What they discovered sent waves of dread through the entire crew. According to their remaining functional instruments, they were now positioned far beyond anything charted by human explorers, hundreds of thousands of light years from their original position. The stars visible through the observation ports were completely unfamiliar, forming constellations that existed in no known star charts. The realization settled over them like a physical weight. They were truly lost, adrift in an uncharted region of the galaxy with no clear way home and limited resources to sustain them. The first signs of intelligent life appeared 3 days after their emergence from the anomaly. At first, it was subtle, anomalous energy readings that didn't correspond to any natural phenomena, followed by brief, unexplained power fluctuations throughout the ship. Then came the visual manifestations, shifting patterns of light that danced across the ship's hull, sometimes forming complex geometric shapes that seemed to pulse with inner intelligence. These displays were accompanied by low-frequency vibrations that resonated through the ship's structure, creating an unsettling sensation that many crew members described as feeling watched. The science team recorded everything meticulously, though their instruments struggled to capture the full nature of these phenomena. Their attempts to communicate using various electromagnetic frequencies yielded unexpected results. After several hours of experimentation, they received a response, not through their communication systems, but directly within their minds. It manifested as vivid impressionistic images and abstract concepts rather than words or sounds. The experience was both exhilarating and deeply disturbing, as if their thoughts were being gently probed by an intelligence vast beyond human comprehension. Some crew members reported feeling intense emotions during these encounters, curiosity, amusement, even what might have been compassion, while others experienced overwhelming sensations of insignificance and vulnerability. The entity, whatever it was, seemed to understand their predicament but made no immediate offer of assistance. The true nature of their visitors revealed itself gradually over the following week. The light patterns evolved into more defined forms, eventually coalescing into semi-material entities that could interact with their environment. These beings appeared as shifting masses of energy contained within loosely humanoid shapes, their surfaces constantly rippling with colors that seemed to shift according to their emotional state. They demonstrated remarkable control over matter and energy, capable of manipulating objects aboard the ship without physical contact and altering environmental conditions at will. Their presence raised numerous questions about the nature of consciousness and physical existence that challenged everything the crew thought they knew about life. While the entities showed no overt hostility, their actions often bordered on invasive. They conducted experiments on the ship's systems, seemingly testing the limits of their technology. Objects would vanish from one location only to reappear elsewhere, rearranged or modified in ways that defied conventional physics. Personal belongings disappeared and returned altered, sometimes bearing cryptic symbols or designs that the science team couldn't decipher. The crew developed protocols for interacting with their visitors, establishing boundaries through carefully constructed gestures and signals. However, maintaining these boundaries proved challenging, as the entities didn't always respect them or perhaps simply didn't understand the concept of personal space and property in human terms. The psychological toll of their situation began manifesting in subtle ways. Crew members reported increasingly vivid dreams filled with alien landscapes and incomprehensible symbols, while others experienced periods of intense paranoia, convinced they were being observed even when alone. The constant presence of the energy beings created an atmosphere of perpetual unease, exacerbated by the knowledge that they were utterly dependent on their visitors' goodwill for survival. Sleep patterns became erratic, and small conflicts between crew members escalated more quickly than usual. The ship's psychologist documented concerning trends in mood swings and cognitive function, particularly among those who had experienced the most direct mental contact with the entities. The energy beings themselves seemed aware of the crew's distress, responding with displays that interpreted as either attempts at comfort or further experimentation. They would sometimes project soothing colors and patterns into sleeping quarters or create gentle vibrations that seemed to calm agitated minds. Other times, they would initiate sudden bursts of activity that left the entire ship shaking, as if testing the humans' resilience under stress. This unpredictable behavior kept everyone perpetually on edge, unsure whether their visitors were benevolent observers or conducting some unfathomable experiment with them as subjects. The line between scientific curiosity and survival instinct began blurring as the days stretched into weeks. A breakthrough came unexpectedly during a routine maintenance procedure. While repairing a damaged sensor array, one of the engineers noticed peculiar crystalline growths forming along the ship's exterior hull. Closer examination revealed these structures weren't simple mineral deposits, but complex organic formations that emitted faint bioluminescent light. More astonishing was their apparent ability to convert ambient stellar radiation into usable energy, effectively creating a natural power source that could supplement their dwindling reserves. The discovery sparked cautious optimism among the crew, though they remained wary of drawing too much attention to their find until they better understood its implications. Further investigation uncovered additional growths throughout the ship's infrastructure, each exhibiting unique properties that suggested potential technological applications. Some crystals generated protective force fields when exposed to certain frequencies, while others exhibited remarkable data storage capabilities far exceeding their own computer systems. The energy beings seemed particularly interested in these developments, intensifying their observations whenever the crew worked with the crystals. It became clear that these formations represented a form of symbiotic relationship between their ship and the alien environment, possibly engineered by the entities themselves. The challenge lay in determining how to harness these resources without compromising the ship's integrity or provoking a hostile response from their powerful neighbors. As the crew adapted to their new reality, they began noticing changes in their own physiology. Small anomalies at first, enhanced night vision, increased sensitivity to electromagnetic fields, occasional episodes of synesthesia where sounds triggered vivid color perceptions. Medical examinations revealed subtle alterations in neural pathways, particularly in regions associated with sensory processing and spatial awareness. The ship's doctor documented cases of accelerated healing and minor injuries, though this came with periods of extreme fatigue that left patients bedridden for hours afterward. More concerning were reports of shared experiences, crew members independently describing identical visions or sensations despite being in separate parts of the ship. These transformations coincided with increasing instances of direct contact with the energy beings. The entities began manifesting inside the ship more frequently, their forms becoming more stable and defined. They demonstrated an uncanny ability to anticipate the crew's needs, often appearing with solutions to problems before anyone voiced them. Yet their helpfulness carried an unsettling undertone, as if they viewed the humans as projects to be guided rather than equals to be assisted. The boundary between voluntary adaptation and forced evolution grew increasingly blurred, raising fundamental questions about free will and consent in their current situation. Each modification brought new capabilities but also increased dependency on forces beyond their understanding. The discovery of additional alien artifacts in nearby space added another layer of complexity to their predicament. Long-range sensors detected clusters of massive structures drifting through the void, their architecture defying conventional engineering principles. These constructs appeared to be ancient, their surfaces pitted with micrometeorite impacts and radiation damage accumulated over millennia. When the Aurora approached one such formation, they found themselves facing technology far beyond anything in human possession. Massive crystalline arrays pulsed with energy patterns similar to those exhibited by the entities visiting their ship, while intricate networks of conduits and chambers suggested purpose-built functionality that remained tantalizingly just out of reach of their understanding. Attempts to interface with these structures proved both fascinating and perilous. The alien technology responded to human presence with alarming intensity, sometimes enveloping portions of the Aurora in fluctuating energy fields that threatened to tear the ship apart. Yet within these dangerous interactions lay opportunities for advancement. The crew managed to establish limited communication protocols with certain components, gaining access to fragments of information encoded in mathematical patterns and geometric sequences. These revelations hinted at a civilization that had mastered the manipulation of matter and energy on scales unimaginable to human science, but also warned of dangers inherent in such power. The entities accompanying them seemed particularly interested in these expeditions, sometimes facilitating access while at other times blocking certain areas entirely. The crew's understanding of their visitors deepened through careful observation and experimentation. They discovered that the entities operated on multiple dimensional planes simultaneously, explaining their ability to appear and disappear at will. Their bodies were essentially controlled projections of consciousness, anchored to specific points in space-time through complex energy matrices. This insight led to the development of new interaction methods, using harmonic resonance patterns to establish more stable connections. The entities responded positively to these efforts, beginning to share glimpses of their history and culture through abstract representations that required intensive interpretation. These exchanges revealed a society that had transcended physical limitations eons ago, existing primarily as pure consciousness distributed across vast networks of energy. Their interest in humanity stemmed from recognizing similar evolutionary potential, though their perspective on time and development differed radically from human understanding. Where humans measured progress in generations, these beings thought in terms of stellar cycles and cosmic events. They viewed the Aurora's presence in their domain as both opportunity and responsibility, though their ultimate intentions remained opaque. The crew found themselves caught between gratitude for the assistance they received and growing concern about the long-term implications of their involvement with such advanced entities. A crisis emerged when the ship's main reactor began exhibiting critical instability, likely due to prolonged exposure to alien energies. The situation worsened rapidly as safety systems failed one after another, leaving the crew facing the very real possibility of catastrophic core breach. The entities responded with unprecedented urgency, surrounding the ship in a dense web of protective energy fields while simultaneously working to stabilize the reactor through direct intervention. Their actions saved the crew from immediate disaster but left lasting modifications to the ship's power systems that fundamentally changed how the vessel operated. The reactor now functioned through hybrid technology combining human engineering with alien principles, making traditional maintenance procedures obsolete. This incident marked a turning point in the relationship between the crew and their visitors. The entities took a more active role in managing ship functions, integrating their own systems with human technology to ensure stability. While this arrangement improved efficiency and reliability, it also increased their dependence on alien assistance. The crew found themselves adapting to new operational protocols dictated by their benefactors, learning to interpret alien logic patterns and energy flows. Some welcomed these changes as necessary for survival, while others viewed them as the beginning of a slippery slope toward losing their humanity. The balance of power shifted noticeably, though whether intentionally or as a natural consequence of their growing integration remained unclear. Exploration of nearby space revealed a network of interconnected habitats maintained by the entities, each serving different purposes in their vast ecological system. These structures ranged from massive orbital platforms housing complex ecosystems to smaller, specialized environments optimized for specific biological processes. The crew observed countless other life forms within these habitats, some resembling familiar terrestrial organisms while others defied classification. Many appeared to exist in symbiotic relationships with the energy beings, their biological functions intertwined with the entity's energy patterns in ways that suggested deliberate engineering rather than natural evolution. This diversity of life forms presented both opportunities and challenges, as the crew struggled to understand the complex web of dependencies maintaining this alien ecosystem. Some of these life forms proved immediately useful, providing sources of nutrition or materials compatible with human biology. Others presented unexpected dangers, their defensive mechanisms reacting violently to human presence despite posing no apparent threat to the entities. The crew learned to navigate this alien menagerie with increasing caution, developing protocols for safe interaction based on careful observation of the entity's own behaviors. They discovered that certain creatures could be trained or directed through simple commands expressed through the harmonic resonance patterns they had developed for communicating with their hosts. This capability opened new possibilities for resource acquisition but also raised ethical questions about exploiting alien species for their benefit. The psychological strain of their situation reached a breaking point as crew members began experiencing profound identity crises. Those who had undergone the most extensive physiological modifications found themselves struggling to maintain a sense of self, their transformed perceptions making normal human experiences feel alien and distant. Simple tasks became challenging as their enhanced senses overwhelmed their brains with information, while periods of isolation grew increasingly unbearable as their minds yearned for the constant stimulation provided by the entity's presence. Some developed compulsive behaviors, obsessively cataloging every change in their condition or seeking ever closer contact with the energy beings. The entities responded to this crisis with increased intervention, sometimes physically merging with distressed individuals to provide direct neurological support. These experiences left participants profoundly altered, their consciousness expanded to encompass perspectives and sensations far beyond normal human capacity. While these sessions often resolved immediate psychological issues, they also created new divisions within the crew. Those who had undergone such mergers found themselves unable to relate to their unchanged colleagues, while the latter grew increasingly fearful of losing their essential humanity. The ship's psychologist documented cases of spontaneous language development, with affected crew members inventing complex symbolic systems to express their transformed experiences, further isolating them from the rest of the group. The discovery of ancient records within the alien artifacts provided shocking insights into the entity's true nature and intentions. Deciphering these archives revealed that the beings had once been physical creatures not unlike humans, evolving on a planet orbiting a dying star. Faced with extinction, they had voluntarily shed their material forms, transferring their consciousness into energy matrices that allowed them to survive beyond the death of their world. This transformation had come at great cost, requiring the sacrifice of individuality and emotion to maintain collective stability. The entities now viewed their existence as both triumph and tragedy, seeking to prevent other species from facing similar choices while simultaneously preparing them for the inevitable transcendence they believed all advanced civilizations must undergo. This revelation cast new light on the entity's interest in humanity. Their careful guidance of the crew's development wasn't purely altruistic, but part of a larger plan to shepherd human evolution toward eventual energy-based existence. The modifications they had been implementing served dual purposes, enhancing survival capabilities in the short term while laying groundwork for future transformation. The crew found themselves grappling with profound philosophical questions about the nature of existence and the price of immortality. Were they merely experimental subjects in a cosmic laboratory, or genuine partners in an interstellar exchange of knowledge? The answer seemed to lie somewhere between these extremes, complicating their decisions about how to proceed. Faced with this newfound understanding, the crew embarked on a delicate balancing act between accepting help and preserving their humanity. They implemented strict protocols governing how and when to utilize alien technology, establishing clear boundaries for what modifications they would permit. Some crew members advocated for embracing their transformation fully, arguing that resistance would only delay the inevitable while wasting valuable opportunities for advancement. Others pushed for finding ways to return to human space, believing that their experiences could benefit Earth while avoiding complete assimilation into the entity's collective. This internal conflict threatened to divide the group irreparably, with factions forming around different visions of their future. The entities respected these boundaries, though their patience seemed finite. They continued providing essential support while subtly increasing pressure to accept further changes, demonstrating the benefits of greater integration through controlled demonstrations of advanced capabilities. These displays included spectacular feats of matter manipulation and consciousness expansion that left witnesses awestruck and yearning for similar experiences. The crew developed sophisticated negotiation techniques, using harmonic resonance patterns to express their desires and concerns in ways the entities could understand. Slowly, they built a framework for cooperation that acknowledged both parties' needs and limitations, though the fundamental question of their ultimate destiny remained unresolved. As months stretched into years, the Aurora's crew found themselves transformed in ways both expected and unforeseen. Their ship had become a unique fusion of human and alien technologies, its systems operating on principles that would revolutionize Earth's science if ever successfully communicated back home. Each member had developed abilities that blurred the line between human and something else entirely. Their consciousness expanded yet still grounded in essential humanity through careful management of their evolution. The entities had proven to be neither purely benevolent saviors nor manipulative overlords, but complex beings driven by their own mix of compassion, curiosity, and cultural imperatives. Through trial and error, they established a sustainable equilibrium, learning to harness their new capabilities while maintaining their core identity. The path forward remained uncertain. Return to Earth with knowledge that might trigger unprecedented societal changes, continue exploring this uncharted region of space as ambassadors between species, or embrace the next stage of evolution alongside their alien hosts. Whatever choice they eventually made, they had become something new, living proof that survival in the vastness of space required not just technological advancement but adaptability, cooperation, and the courage to redefine what it means to be human. Their journey served as both warning and inspiration for future generations of explorers venturing beyond the stars. Remember to subscribe for more thrilling tales of cosmic adventure and human resilience in the face of the unknown.